It's the second Sunday of Lent. It's annual Congregational meeting Sunday at 11 o'clock live on Zoom. At the end of half an hour of Zoom worship, we'll be hearing reports from 2020. We'll be hearing plans for 2021. We'll be giving thanks to the leaders that got us this far and for those who are stepping up for the coming year. Don't miss it. And as we go through all of the reports, including the financial reporting and budgeting, don't forget the bigger picture. What business are we in, and how's business? What expectations do you have for your church? Sure, we're all here to save the world, aren't we? Though, in fact, that's Jesus' job, and he's doing okay. Or at least I'm leaving it up to Jesus. My job is supposed to be to help. How are we doing? Against the ultimate goal of saving the world, we failed again last year and probably will this coming year. But were we part of the problem, or were we helping in the ministry of Jesus Christ? Perhaps we're just here to survive. Mutual care all the way to each one's grave and each one's funeral. Last one out, turn out the lights. Sort of a annuity approach to Christianity. On that basis, we're overachieving, and we probably will again this year. Good job. Let's put this into context in a worship service of the stories, the traditions we share. First, we heard from the ideological legends of Abraham and Sarah. That's about chapter 12 to 25 of Genesis. After the first 11 chapters of the foundational myths of our common humanity, of Adam and Noah, everybody's off the same boat. Everybody got kicked out of the same garden. From 12 to 25, we're starting to figure out stories that explain who it is to be a distinctive people within our common humanity. What is it that makes us us? Avram and Sarai in chapter 12 get told, get up and go. Leave your home. Leave your fathers. Leave the familiar. Get up and go. Head north into Syria, then down through Palestine and Canaan, all the way down to Egypt and Africa and back out again. And all along the way, chapter 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, they keep getting promised that they're going to get descendants and land and blessing. So here they are. Abraham's now 99 years old. No kid, no land. Stranger in a strange land, refugee, migrant, nomad. Sarai, no children. Hagar's got Ishmael, who will be the father of the Arab peoples, claimed by the Quran and Islam, the Surah of the Cow, honoring that we are all Abraham's children, people of the book. Great foolish expectations for old Abram at 99 and his wife Sarai, 89. You're going to have a baby. No, really. You're going to get a land, descendants, great nations and kings will come from you. Oh, yeah? For the first 1,000 years that these legends were told, those who told them and heard them were sitting on the shore of the Mediterranean, on the east end of the middle of the earth sea, as the Romans called it. Looking to the east, they had great empires of Asia. Looking to the south, the powerful nations and empires up the Nile into Africa. And they told stories. Who are we then in relation to them? My father was a wandering era man. Get up and go, said God, and he did. And our people were slaves in Egypt, and God brought us out with an outstretched arm and a mighty hand. Thank God. That's who we are. Of course, at that time, there was no civilization in Europe to the north and no New World. We told those stories for a millennium, and we keep telling those stories for a couple of millennia after that. What does it mean to claim it as our story? The great foolish expectations. When our legacy seems belated and uncertain, what are we leaving for the future? What will we have proclaimed in our turn? Did we really get the land, descendants, and blessings that God promised? Jesus and Peter, there's a whole nother story. That's something about bleak and tragic expectations. Jesus in Mark 8, 9, and 10 keeps telling the disciples, I'm going to the cross. They're going to kill me. That's what happens when you represent the divine to this world. It pushes back. It'll cost you. You should be ready to take up your cross in turn. And Peter, like any good church board member, says, Jesus, you should stop talking like that. That's not really optimistic, not really upbeat. And Jesus says to Peter, get behind me, follow, and you'll see what it means to live as one not afraid to die, to represent the divine to the human. You are thinking in human terms. I am driven by the Spirit to represent what is divine to the human, represent humanity to God. What does it profit a person to gain the whole world and lose his soul? You know the texts. What does it mean to spend or waste your life? For what? What does it mean to save your life? From what? Not just individuals, but communities. Represent what really matters. Bear witness. Proclaim. So you got the great foolish expectations of Abraham and Sarai, the bleak tragic ones for Jesus and the disciples that were realized in their lives and legends, and shape our expectations, inform and express our own anticipation and our own memory. So what looks familiar to you at Trinity and in United Church, looking back at 2020 and ahead at 2021? Do you imagine this old geriatric congregation getting new infants to baptize? Do you imagine us showing futile resistance to demographic trends and in our turn expecting to stumble like other rural churches have and will around us? These are directions, not destinations. Orientations toward ultimate ends. Are all of our divisions to be dissolved into one universal common humanity, or do we have a particular witness to bear? To claim our own existential right to reside, to praise God, to show the world what it would mean to love God in this particular time with this particular people. Let's have some great foolish expectations like Avram and Sarai. And let's learn to have some courage to be, to live as those unafraid to die like Jesus and Peter. Let's see what that might mean. Managing our expectations of one another and of God.